thinking about moving to Spain, or maybe you are already here and you keep wondering, do I really need a private health insurance in Spain? Welcome to Spain Unlocked. I'm Anna, and today we're diving deep into the private health insurance world in Spain. We will reply to key questions and give you some useful tips. Let's go. First of all, a little bit of context. Why do we need a private health insurance in Spain? Doesn't Spain have its own social security, the social health care, national health system? And the answer is obviously yes. Spain is one of the countries that is lucky enough to have a national health system run by Social Security, which means that basically we do have a free of charge in a kind service where we do pay our taxes, but we do not need to pay anything else from our pockets whenever we visit doctors inside of the national health system. However, this type of system has a lot of issues here in Spain. National health system is a very long journey. First of all, you would need to go to your family doctor, to your GP, general practitioner, and from there, if you need to see a specialist, they will send you to one. However, they will need to call you first, which might happen in days, months, or weeks' time, depends on how urgent it actually is. Afterwards, they will tell you for when you have your appointment, which will be in another days, weeks, or months' time, maybe even in a year for some specialists if it's not as urgent, or for different types of MRI scans, CT scans, diagnostic types of treatments, you will need to wait, sadly. And from then, you wait your appointment and then you go to specialist. If you need to do something else, it's another wait. People tend to wait for interventions, for example, on the knees, on the hands, the back, the eyes, even if it's not life threatening, a year and a half, and sometimes even more than that. The social security, the national health system, also works with private hospitals. A lot of the times, when they see they're saturated, they cannot go forward with as many patients in the national health system. So they send them to the private sector, obviously without any kind of need or necessity to pay more. It's just that the operation and the intervention is being done in a private hospital. That's basically it. So we tend to wait a lot. Sometimes, depending on the area, the waits to see a general doctor might be between 1 day to 2 weeks' time. Depends on how many patients are actually in this area, how big the city is, or the area where you actually are. Thus, all this, together with not being able to go to the specialist that you want to go, not being able to ask for the procedure that you need to ask, for it being so slow in case of not life threatening cases. When it's something urgent, type cancer, whatever it is, then obviously it runs very smooth. But if it's not the case, to get up until the point where you're diagnosed and treated, it's a very long time. Who has the right for a national health system free of charge? The public health system. Basically, it's either people who work here in Spain and are paying their social security month by month. These are pensioners that either have tributed and paid their taxes here in Spain, or came from other countries where they've paid the taxes. And there are different international treaties and laws that will allow you to register your taxes here so that you would be able to use the national health system and the social security. Also, there are self-employed people who work for themselves but also have to pay taxes, and those who have European Union insurance cards, which are valid also here in Spain, but in this case, it's for emergency cases only when you go to emergency department in a public hospital. Which is why we're here today, and we will be talking about another alternative, which is private health insurance in Spain. By the way, more than half of all residents in Spain do have some kind of a private insurance. So why would someone consider on getting a private health insurance here in Spain? First of all, because there's long wait lists in the national health system, in the social security, as we call it here. Basically, the wait to the general doctor, the wait for operations, for interventions, for procedures, for seeing a specialist as it is so long that people want to get treated as fast as possible. And in this case, they prefer to go to a private health insurance. The second bullet point would be the major flexibility. Obviously, having a private health insurance here in Spain allows you to choose whichever doctor you want that is available inside of your private insurance system. And you can choose different types of hospitals. So, whatever you go according to the place where you live or where you are at, you are able to get attended. And if you don't like any kind of doctor, you can just switch to another one without giving explanations to anyone, without telling why. Just take the other doctor next time when you get an appointment. And flexibility of hours. In social security, they just give you the hour and that's it. You do have a limited availability inside of the national health system app on the phones, which recently they've launched. But in the private health insurance sector, you're able to choose from a whole month or even a few months of possibilities. Each day you have various appointments to choose from. Some of the things, such as radio diagnostics, are done even on the weekends. So it's just very comfortable. And for blood work, you can come anytime from early morning up until even 3 p.m., more or less, depending on the hospital, but you're able to do it whenever you can. This flexibility and the possibility of choice is a great bullet point on why people are choosing the private health insurance. Attention in different languages, also a very important point to consider. Those people who do not speak Spanish very well and would need an attention or a translator, this is usually provided not by the insurance itself, but by the private hospital. There are many hospitals, for example, in our region where we live, right next to Benidorm town, Costa Blanca, Spain. We have private hospitals that even have translators inside for basic, most used languages in our region, such as English. Obviously, there is Russian, Ukrainian, there is German, there is French, there is, for example, for people who are coming from Netherlands, and a few other languages, but mostly these ones for people coming from these countries to help understand what they need and to help the doctor to actually translate what is going on. So, this is a very important point because when you go to a public health system, there are signs on the door and everywhere you go saying that if you do not speak Spanish, please come with someone who does, because that's going to be the only way that you will be able to understand each other. Another extra point, I would say, is the dental coverage and another additional points that are as extras to the main insurance. A lot of private health insurances here in Spain do offer a full medical coverage plus dental one. Even though dental, it's not going to be free of charge, it doesn't mean that you will not pay anything at all for a dental treatment. It does include one cleaning, for example, once a year or twice a year, depending on the insurance and your needs. It might include a few extras. Consultations are free of charge, but then the typical things that you need to do, they will cost you, but they will cost you way less than it would be if you would not have a dental insurance. Especially if you want brackets or orthodontics, something that you need to fix, or some kind of a treatment, it will be cheaper if you get a dental insurance. Obviously, there's also another ones. There is insurance for accidents, travel insurance. The private health insurance is also one of the main requirements nowadays for the visa and residence permits. Not a lot of people know about it still, but around a decade ago, it was not obligatory to have a private insurance for those who were coming from European Union. There were barely any requirements at all, only for those who were outside of the European Union. But nowadays, for around 2 to 3 years, maybe slightly more, it did change. Thus, right now, both European Union and non European Union residents are required to get a full coverage private insurance. In this case, it's a specific insurance that not all companies are able to provide because you will need a certificate. It's called in Spanish Certificado de Extranjería. And this is a special document that will need to be issued. And this is a document that we present for our clients to the national police or to the extranjeria, depending which type of permit it actually is. This type of insurance has to be without any kind of additional payments, so no co-payments, and sin carencias. This is the most important point. Carencia means that there is a limitation on your insurance. Usually, even if you book a complete insurance here in Spain, not for residence purposes, just in general, without any kind of co-payments, this insurance will have limitations. So for the first, let's say 3 months, you will only have general consultations, different types of analytics, something simple and not expensive for the insurance company. After the 6 months, you will have almost all different types of diagnostics and everything, plus emergency department. And after 9 months, even giving birth in a private hospital will be included. These limitations are impossible in the resident insurance, in the one that you will use for the resident or visa permits. That is very, very important to know, and there needs to be a specific certificate issued. These types of insurances are paid annually, which means that you need to pay for the whole entire year. Only then there's going to be no limitations, no co-payments, and this insurance will be suitable to be presented. The certificate that is given usually in these types of insurances will state that the person, with its date of birth, its nationality, and its full name, has a full insurance without co-payments, without limitations in this company, which covers exactly the same that Social Security, National Health System covers here in Spain: hospitalizations, emergencies, consultations, diagnostics, etc., etc., etc. This certificate, once issued, has the validity of 1 month exactly to be presented. If you do not have enough time for it, you can ask for another copy with an updated date. But it is important to do it more or less right before the presentation of the documents, because if not, the immigration department might say that it's too far along and you need to either pay for another couple of months and have a full year of insurance, or you will need to get a brand new insurance and spend some extra money, which is why you need to be cautious with it. If you need assistance with a private insurance in our migration consulting company, we can help you to purchase a special health insurance according to your needs or visa permits. Let us know, and you can contact us through this email and the phone number. You can also fill in the questionnaire, the form, right on our website, 3wsemigrar.com. What types of insurances in general do exist here in Spain? As a person who actually registers these insurances, who provides these insurances to our clients, the amount of options is very big and wide. There are basic insurances that covers just some consultations. There's insurances with co-payments, small or big co-payments, which means that it's partially covered on your health insurance, more or less like in US, but without abusive pricing from the hospital side. It's partially covered, and the rest you're paying it, and it's stipulated already inside of your health insurance policy, so you know exactly how much will you pay, more or less, or how much at least is covered, and they cannot deny it as it happens in some countries. And then there are insurances with the full payment, which means that it's fully covered from your insurance. You don't need to pay anything at all, whatever happens. And whenever it happens, full coverage insurances are one of the most popular ones here, together with the small co-payment ones, which is where you only need to pay maybe 10 euros, 5 euros, 15 euros, 20, depends on what you need to do. And a lot of things are actually fully covered. There are dental insurances, which we spoke already about. There's health insurance, which we've already spoken about too. There's insurance for traveling, for accidents. There's insurance even for pets, which are also family members officially here in Spain since last year. So there's a lot of different types of these. And you can always find the one for yourselves. Also very popular here is an insurance for those who, whenever a loved one loses its life, it's very expensive here in Spain to provide all the necessary service afterwards. It's something you need to know. It is extremely expensive in Spain, all the funeral arrangements. Thus, a lot of people have a special insurance that covers all of these costs, and it's paid monthly usually. You can pay it once a year, every 3 months, or every 6 months. There are also insurances that are life insurances. Probably you all know what a life insurance is, so no necessity on explaining this one. But basically, whenever a person loses its life, if you had a life insurance, then if it is contemplated in life insurance, the family will receive a compensation for it. Once again, a live person is better than that, but if something happens, this is what usually happens with the life insurances. And then obviously there's insurances, for example, for residence purposes, as the one that we've spoken some minutes ago. And many people will ask, well, what are the prices? Are they expensive, these types of insurances? And the answer is it depends. What actually shows us the price and what might make a difference in terms of pricing? First of all, it might be the age. That is the most important factor. It doesn't matter on how much you actually use the insurance. A lot of people say, I only used it once and I still got the higher price next year. The thing is that with every single year, the price will increase because there's many more health factors. You are getting older, and thus there is a bigger probability or possibility that you will have some health issues. Thus, the insurance is getting slightly more expensive. If there is abusive rise in price, then obviously that is not correct, but usually it does increase some euros, a few euros, or 10 euros more or less, each and every single year. Whenever you hit a certain milestone, it will increase more and it will become slightly more expensive. There's also limitations for the age that is very important to know. Obviously, since the person is a newborn, it is possible to get an insurance from the day one. Usually, newborns have coverage with their mothers. For first month of life, depends on the insurance, between 1 week and first month of life, and then they need to get their own insurance. Usually the mother is who is getting the second card and the second insurance under her same policy. Depending on the company and the coverage, it might cost as little as 20 something euros up until 150, 160 per person, depending on the age of the coverage of the insurance and on the type of company. We, as a migration consulting company, as you all know, will work with companies to be able to provide health insurances to our clients. And we have also our very own website where you can see how much it will exactly cost you and contact us to book the insurance in terms of your age and which kind of insurance you want. You just need to go on the website, take the age, put the date of birth and which kind of insurance it is, and it will calculate you more or less how much it would cost for you to get an insurance. And then if you're ready to go, you can contact us and book this insurance with us. And let us do the rest. It's a very easy process to make, and you will have your insurance in no time. One of the last but not least important factors is the health questionnaire. Usually, health insurances do ask you to fill in a health questionnaire. Normally, when people are younger, less than 70, and they do not have an excessive weight, they look more or less healthy, it is absolutely fine. If you've had a surgery decades ago, it's not important, but they do specify which kind of information they actually need from you. Which type of medication are you taking? If you had any kind of injuries, something in the last 5 or 10 years, each company has its own practices, so you will need to specify for them to determine if they're able to insure you. And we did see cases when people had a lot of health issues, high blood pressure, diabetes, and different types of health problems that they need to go to the doctor constantly. And we've seen that the health insurance does not really cover it all, or directly, if it's an advanced age already, are saying no, we will not cover this person in the insurance because the risk of it getting health issues and using the insurance is way, way higher. But health questionnaires are really, really necessary because that's an important point that you cannot skip whenever getting a health insurance. Also, height and weight is something that you need to put for them as basic measures to see. And the copy of your document of identity is also necessary to see that it's actually yourself, what the picture looks like, that the data is correct, and that it matches with the person for which the insurance is being put in place. Before getting an insurance, what should you look at? First of all, you should look on the coverage. There is no sense of booking an insurance when in the area where you will be living, there's absolutely no private hospital that works with this insurance. The most popular ones, obviously, that are, for example, Asisa, Adeslas, DKV, Sanitas, Mapfre, Santa Lucia. There's a lot of more of them. There is dozens of insurance companies, but these are the most popular ones. We have been with Asisa for at least 7, 8 years, maybe even more. We've had Adeslas previously, but Asisa is the company that we've never ever had the issues with, to be honest. And we're paying monthly the insurance, and all the time we've never ever had any kind of issues. All the authorizations were put in place. It's quite quick, it's efficient, and the customer service is great. So this is the first insurance where we say we do not want to change to any other, because that's a possibility always, because everything suits us. So you need to check the coverage, if in the area where you will be, the hospitals work with this insurance, and what actually is the coverage, if everything's covered, if all specialties, because insurances sign contracts with hospitals. So it doesn't mean that if it's a private insurance, it's going to be covered in every single hospital. It might not be the case, and you might be surprised. So check it out beforehand. Second point would be, is it with co-payments or without co-payments? If it's a full insurance, you don't need to pay anything. But if it's with co-payments, check how much it actually is, if it's suitable for your pocket or if it's not the case. Many people who don't need it for residence permits, who just want to have an insurance just in case, and they do not mind of paying 10, 20 euros for something, or maybe slightly less, they do get an insurance with co-payments, because they do not plan on going to the hospital as much. They do not want the full coverage and prefer to be partially covered and pay the rest amount of money whenever the time actually comes. And it's way cheaper in this case. Is it worth, as a conclusion, to have a private health insurance in Spain? Personally and honestly, I think yes, we have it. We have a national health system, and we still use, and the vast majority of people here do use private health insurances of different kind, basic, full coverage, with co-payments, small, big ones, doesn't matter. But we do have a private health insurance simply because it's way faster, it's more efficient. You can get any kind of treatment that you need. You can go to any specialist directly without the necessity of going to the general doctor. You don't need to wait so much towards appointments, interventions, consultations, emergency departments too. And for example, in the national health system, if it's a health center, not a hospital, they do not have x-ray machines, or they might not have specific consultations. So for that, they will send you to another place, which is really inconvenient. And in private hospitals, everything is in one single place, or at least if it's like a consultation place, they tend to have x-ray department or other types of diagnostics and analytics. So you do not need to actually search for another place where to go in the vast majority of cases. Due to all of that, due to how the social security works here, I personally feel that it is definitely, in case you are able to allow yourselves to get a private health insurance, it is definitely a very, very good and effective way of getting checked, getting treated way faster than in the social security. I hope this video was useful for you. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask them right here below in the comment section. We will answer you as soon as possible. And if you want to start your relocation process or for the future retirement here in Spain, don't forget that you can contact us by this email and phone number, and check our website too. Wish you a lovely day, and we'll see you in a new video. Goodbye.